2023 has been a year of transition, building strength, and change here at the People's Office. Homicide rates are down, with 100 in 2021, 80 in 2022, and 65 in 2023 year to date. Other crime numbers are dropping as well, and that gives us the opportunity to proactively handle issues that plague our community. We secured the nation's first intergovernmental agreement to specially deputize tribal prosecutors. First with the Pascua Yaqui tribe in December of 2022, and a second earlier this year with the Tohono O'odham Nation to better serve our indigenous community. Another accomplishment was rolling out the state's only adult restorative justice program. We started taking cases in October. Our civil division is fully staffed and had tremendous success this year, particularly in the areas of reproductive health care and mental health work. And we will continue to do what we can to protect crime victims and stop the criminalization of medical care. We worked tirelessly to get the first agency-wide pay raise since 1997. It was a challenging and epic endeavor, but we were able to get compensation for our employees who do their very best every day to serve the people of Pima County. We won awards, started production on a new podcast, and spent time making connections out in our community. Our 88 crime division has seen success with the distribution of thousands more gun locks this past year, while tips came in from the public and led to amazing arrests. There are so many stories to tell out of the People's Office from the past year, and here are some examples of what we see every day.
You know, behind every homicide is a family that is going through oftentimes what is the worst experience of their life. So we owe that to them in terms of our handling of the case. And so even if the volume goes up, that doesn't mean that our time and attention for each case should be impacted by that. And I don't think that it was. It's just something that required us to find more time in the day to attend to these cases, find more time in a month to host homicide panels and have these cases presented to the most experienced attorneys in our office to make decisions on which direction we ought to go in a particular case.
This is my daughter, Ria Dene Almeida. On June 18, 2009, 14 years ago, my daughter Ria went to go visit a friend down the road. Unfortunately, she did not come back home.
Urgent action to address the crisis within our region, which has one of the highest number for missing, murdered Indigenous women and girls and people as far as cases in this country.
We're really excited to be able to now have a intergovernmental agreement with the Pima County Attorney's Office through the Pima County to be able to bring these cases into state court and seek some form of justice. And those are the initial steps of a greater partnership that we can try to help our families.
So one of the reasons why we need to do this is because when people come out of prison, a lot of times they're not ready. They don't have the jobs, they don't have housing, they don't have education, they don't have skills. So what we see is when people don't have those type of items as far as restorative and reentry, it impacts recidivism where people go back to prison. So we're trying to do all we can to keep more people in their community, more people with their family, instead of sitting in prison.
November 6th, I'm going to get my rights restored. And today I got all of that done here at Fresh Start. So now that my voice is going to be heard as far as voting now, it's not just heard on the radio with Dr. Holt and those things, but now I can have a voice when I vote. Now I can be part of a system that I was never part of before.
I mean, this is where you can sign up for sealing your records, expunging prior convictions, dealing with fines, getting your rights restored, getting back out from under a conviction, and while you're waiting to see the judge, you're looking at services, you're looking at housing, you're looking at education, employment. You can come out of here on such better footing, and there's nothing more special than this.
It was introduced in the 70s in a Western lens to address two things. Mainly this sense of victims who might want more informational needs that they're not getting through the regular justice system, right? If somebody is a victim of a crime and, they might want to know more context behind that person, or might want to know why it happened to them, why they were chosen. And that kind of information can really help in the healing process. So restorative justice allows for that victim to have their voice heard, and it also allows victims to ask the defendant, that responsible person as we call them, ways in which they can repair the harm. So they are central to figuring out how justice can be achieved.
I am so humbled that I have somehow reached a position in my career that I get to be here with you tonight and to meet you and to congratulate you personally for this triumph. You are proof that all of this is worthwhile. You are proof that we're never going to turn our backs on our brothers and sisters who are struggling and suffering. You are proof that humanity will overcome. And you are the model for the next group right after you. Congratulations to each and every one of you.
So I think one of the biggest things that we really became intentional about is trying to keep as many of the juvenile cases in the juvenile justice system. There certainly are some cases, given the nature of the case, given the severity of the case, community protection issues, that can't happen and they have to get moved to the adult justice system. But for the most part, our efforts are to try and keep as many juvenile cases as we can in the juvenile justice system. Our office believes that juvenile cases are better served in the juvenile justice system because the juvenile is going to get swifter consequences and they're going to get more age-appropriate therapeutic interventions.
So the Community Justice Board program, as we call the CJB, began in 1998. So we're roughly in our mid-20s right now. The approach to that program was using restorative justice principles to work with youth in the community by the community. So the idea behind it was to partner with different community agencies, volunteers that donate their time, to work with youth that have minor citations, just begin to commit misdemeanor, maybe some felony offenses, so that we can repair the harm that was caused by their actions and work to rebuild not only the youth, but the community around the youth.
We review contracts, we review real property agreements, and even draft some, and also provide input if there is any contract dispute with someone that's not the county. We advise more than 20 county departments. We sometimes also advise the Board of Supervisors and county administration. Economic development agreements are kind of unique. They're fairly complicated contracts that also are real property agreements. The ones we're talking about generally relate to the use of county property for those economic development projects.
Involuntary commitment hearings come under Title 36 of the Arizona Revised Statutes, and they come into play when any responsible person in the community fills out an application based on the fact that they believe the person is either a danger to themselves, a danger to others, has a persistent or acute disability, or is gravely disabled, which means that they don't believe that they can meet their activities of daily living. The county attorney's office becomes involved, and we file a petition for court-ordered evaluation that is approved by an evaluating agency. And so when that is filed, the court must sign an order for evaluation, And if there's an order for evaluation, then there are 2 psychiatrists who must evaluate the patient to determine whether that person has a mental disorder and also qualifies for court-ordered treatment.
So they signed a contract, and he informed the victim that he had ordered the AC unit, which would arrive in about 2 or 4 weeks. And in the meantime, he asked her to start making those $350 a week payments. Well, 4 weeks later, no AC unit. However, the defendant in this case continued to ask the victim to stay on top, making the payments. There were times that we were asked for double payments because he informed the victim that he was fronting the purchase of the AC unit. There was another report, a police report from the Pima County Sheriff's Department from another victim a year prior. The set of circumstances surrounding that complaint were very similar. In that particular case, the victim happened to know the defendant. They knew the defendant or have known him for 33 years, so they trusted him. We used our de-escalation skills. Our detectives here are veterans. They're highly trained. So we contacted this individual and tried to de-escalate it, get him to put the knives down, but he wasn't having any of it, and he wasn't cooperating. He was pretty worked up, and that was concerning to us. He decided to leave the area on foot, which is good, but again can also be concerning because there was a Suntran bus stopped nearby. We were concerned that he would get onto the bus armed with a machete. That's concerning, or enter another public building here. We kept visual contact with him and gave him the distance to de-escalate also. But we kept them in visual contact and followed them quite a distance away to the area of Cushing and Grant, just south of the Fire Central. And we observed them discard the machete and the other knife. We recovered those 2 edged weapons, and now that we had recovered those, then we took them into custody, detained them, and turned them over to the Tucson Police Department.
We primarily work with victims of crime as they navigate through the criminal justice system. We help them understand the rights that they have under Arizona statutes, how to exercise those rights in the judicial system. We provide a lot of emotional support. It's incredibly difficult for many people to navigate this system while navigating their own grief at losing a loved one or experiencing a traumatic event. We work with homicide cases with the next of kin of deceased victims. We work in a lot of sex assault cases with both minor victims and adult victims. We work with a lot of domestic violence cases as well. We want to support these victims and match them with the resources in the community that can help.
As we wrap up a year filled with optimism, courage, and growth, I would like to take this moment to thank the incredible and dedicated staff and amazing volunteers for their hard work this past year. We're looking forward to a productive and exciting 2024. You are all wonderful, and I'm inspired by you, and I can't wait to see how we raise the bar for excellence next year. Thank you for your public service to the people of Pima County.